And hello, welcome back to the show. It has been a hot minute since we've done a show. We're back on Thursdays, 6 p.m. ish. Hello, Zach. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
So, anyway, yeah, man, we probably have some catching up to do and things like that. But so anyway, we were sorting out some audio stuff there. Zach was saying that I sounded absolutely horrible. Let's see here. I'm gonna hide that, and I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna also hide that. Okay, that's much better. Okay. And make sure I actually have audio bars, right? Which I do. Hang on. Yes. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I've got this crazy kind of setup going on right now, Zach, where I've got, actually, the webcam is going to be changing at some point. I just forgot to do it before today's show. I don't know. Can you see the little preview window, Zach?
No.
You should pull it up. The little video window.
What will I be looking at exactly?
Can you? Well, you should see the double box right now, right?
Oh, I do see it. Yes.
Yep. Hang on. Okay, so here's me, right? And then you're also going to see me in a second, but boom. I've got some changing to do, but what do you think?
That is higher quality.
Oh yeah, way higher quality. I just need to move it over. So here's what happened, right? So I've got two webcams right now, right? I'm gonna switch back.
Why is that?
I'm gonna switch back to the other one. So basically, here's what's going on. This is actually really cool. So I had a project a couple of weeks ago where I finished a project a couple weeks ago. Oh yeah, big news on TechBeam Media actually, Zach. We are now an LLC, like moving towards more legit company-ish thing, right? So yeah, so we're now an LLC. And we that was in conjunction with doing a project.
A project.
Yes.
Tell me about this project.
So I went down to Iowa Falls, which is about an hour away or so, right? And built a full live stream solution for a church down there.
Wow.
So basically, similar thing to what I did for. I'm going to turn you up a little bit because you're a little bit quiet. But yeah, basically same thing I did for our church.
Yes, I do remember that.
So we did something similar basically, where I went down and ran audio for them, and we built a computer for them, and because that's why I was asking you. Remember, I was asking you like about different CPUs.
Hmm.
Yep. So that's why.
That.
I was asking you about that because I needed to build a live stream solution for them. So we ended up going Intel, actually, of all things. I wanted to go AMD, but I just couldn't find any good AMD processors for the price.
Availability is a big problem right now.
It is a big problem right now. So anyway, I went Intel, and it's working fine. So, but yeah, so we bought a nice camera for them, and oh, this is gonna make you cringe.
Oh, what is it?
Because it kind of made me cringe a little bit. Was
RTX?
No.
RTX doesn't make me cringe, but it would be funny if they got RTX for that.
No, not even our church is using RTX. No, so what I ended up going with like a 1030 or something like that. GTX 10 or no, not 1030, 730, GTX 730, something like that.
There is no X.
GT 730. I'm sorry. Hang on. Yep, you're right.
Need to get that right. Yep.
So anyway, yeah, so that's what I ended up doing was a GT 730 for them. And so far it looks pretty decent. That church is not as bright as our church, so I think I need to work on some color stuff. And we just fixed the audio sync issue, or at least I think we did. She sent me the office secretary down there sent me a picture of, or excuse me, not a picture, but a video after she made some changes after sending me another video. So anyway, but yeah, so where the new webcam came from, as part of buying the new camera, it was a promotion that particular company was putting on. So when I bought the new camera, it was a freebie. And they were like, hey, thanks for buying a camera. By the way, here's a coupon. Fill out this rebate form and we'll send you one of our little webcams. And oh my goodness, is it actually really decent? So that's where that webcam came from.
Funny.
So anyway, yeah. And so I plan to put it in place. And look, okay, so the Logitech camera that I've got right now, I thought it was a pretty good camera. And then I saw the other one, which is from a company called PTZ Optics. They make really amazing cameras. Holy mackerel, does that thing look good. Like, really good. Like, yeah, you did see the audio, or not the audio quality, the video quality.
Yes, I did.
Well, the audio, okay, so the audio quality's not great on it.
Yes, but it's a webcam mic.
That is true. It cannot compete with,
You probably, if you expected miracles there, you really need to reevaluate things.
Yeah, that's probably true. So, excuse me. Yeah, so it can't compete with my, like, oh, I don't know how much this mic actually costs stock. I got it for a couple $100, 150 maybe. But, this is also a professional broadcast quality microphone, so. But that's why when you were like, you sound really weird, I was like, what do you mean I sound really weird? So, anyway, yeah. So, that's been some of the big news that I've been partaking in. So yeah, so TechMe Media is an LLC, finished this giant project. What else did we do? Oh, I have given up on DJing. Well, not really given up, but I'm no longer pursuing that as a side project anymore.
What made you do that? Just don't feel like it?
Mostly because it's a lot of work and I wanted to focus on TechBeam Media.
Understandable.
So, now I have a young coworker though, that is actually possibly interested in taking over the DJ business, at least the front portion of it, like the front end. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll just run back of house and stuff like that, which I'd be okay with. So anyway, so there's that. And, oh yeah. We need to have a conversation. And actually, you might be a good person to do this. How do you politely tell somebody that it is time to throw their computer away because it is a piece of garbage and upgrade?
I don't know. I've been doing some on-site work at work, and well, let's just say I pulled some Optiplexes out of sites that were literally the same models I used in middle school.
I'll one-up you.
Telling them that information is a decent way of conveying to them just how old these things are. Like, seriously, they're ancient.
I'll one-up you.
A lot of them have XP stickers on them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do better than that. But I think it's funny.
Okay.
To say that I used this kind of computer in middle school. Please get a new one.
I'll one-up you here.
Or more like, I used this kind of computer in middle school. You're getting a new one.
I'll one-up you here. So when I was in middle school, okay, the systems we had in some of the classrooms were Windows 2000 systems.
That's rough. Never actually used one of those. My family had, the earliest computer I remember my family having was a Windows 98 computer. but I didn't use it very much, and I don't really remember it very well.
I had a Windows 98 machine. It was a laptop.
You?
It could not connect to the internet, and but you know what? I was in elementary school, and I had a freaking laptop, and that was cool.
Yeah, my dad has a Windows 95 laptop somewhere.
And then I was given a computer from a family member that was a Windows Me system.
Oh my. That's terrifying.
I think that thing got updated to Windows XP, and then it's long gone. I don't know what happened to it. I think like the hard drive failed, and then it got recycled or something.
I do know that my family went straight to XP. We didn't do 2000. We also didn't do Vista. We went from XP to 7.
Our very first computer that we had, which there's a video on this channel of that computer, us trying to load Windows 10 on it, which did not work, by the way, which was hilarious because we had spent, like, I don't know, a good couple hours, and then Zach was like, do you remember this? You were like, I bet you it's not even going to work. And then, like, not even, like, 5 minutes later, it was just like,
no. Yeah, it didn't work. I do remember that.
Anyway, so, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. So our first in-home computer, really, right, was the Windows XP system, which I was actually completely thrown off. Like, at this point in my life, I was not aware that there was another operating. I thought Mac OS was it. I thought that was like, because that's all I'd ever seen in computers. So I thought Macs were it. Like, that's what computers are, right there, right? And then I see this thing called Windows XP, and I'm like, the heck is Windows XP? Like, where's my trash can?
Trash? Where's the trash can? You can't even remove the trash can from the desktop, and you had
no. It was a recycling bin. It was not a trash can. It was a recycling bin.
But the icon is a trash can.
No.
It recycled can. Whatever.
It was a recycling bin. It was not a trash can.
Look, tell me you look at the picture of the recycle bin, and you're like, that's not a trash can. Come on, your brain knows what a bin for dumping things in.
No, because
is.
you know what? I think back in that day, the trash can on the Mac operating system actually legitimately was like a trash can. It was like a wire trash can.
Yes.
Like a wire bin. And the recycling bin on the Windows system was like a plastic bin.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, now I don't. Oh, yeah, okay, so the recycling bin. Okay, okay, sorry. You can't get rid of it. I forgot about that. Anyway. And we also had this really weird thing. I'm not quite sure if it was a Mac thing or if it was just a special thing on our computers, but we had this weird thing called a launcher. And it was like this series of folders that had, it was like 3 tabs, I remember, and it had all these different applications in it. But it was called the launcher, and it was the very first thing that would pop up on the computers when we started. So anyway, so come to Windows, and I'm like, the frick is the launcher? Come to find out, you click on a little start button. Anyway, so yeah. And then when I entered middle school, that was my first experience with Windows computers that were on a domain. I thought it was so cool that I had my own username and password. I was like, dude, this is freaking sweet. Come to find out, I
didn't even know what a domain was.
Yeah, come to find out, I couldn't even do anything on the computer. It's like, oh, I want to change my background. Oh, I can't do that. Like, poo. So now now I've taken that ability to be able to do that because I manage a domain. Where I'm like, okay, guest accounts, nobody can do anything. So, anyway, actually, our church has like some security audit thing coming up soon. It's actually for the entire diocese. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, so funny story. So have you ever, in your entity, I am sure that you guys probably use some kind of antivirus software, I would guess, correct?
Yes.
What are you using?
Something called Endgame. Never heard of it before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Is this the same software that is doing that remote management stuff that absolutely is, like, atrocious?
Awful? No.
Okay, so I've never heard of Endgame before. What we are using, I just deployed it a couple weeks ago at the church, is called Bitdefender. I'm sure you've heard of that before.
Yeah, I've always heard of Bitdefender as like a bargain bin antivirus.
Bargain bin
Bargain
antivirus.
bin, yeah.
Really? Because for a year,
That's what I've always known it
for
as.
a year subscription to it for 10 systems, we got a discount for it. But for 10 systems for
By
like 1
bargain
year.
bin, I mean for ineffectiveness.
Oh, real? No. Mm-mm. I don't think so. You should see the number of things that I can do with at least this version of. There might be different tiers of Bitdefender, but at least the version that we're using is pretty significant. I have a web control panel that I can log into, and then basically all my systems run a client, and I can push updates out to them and change security policies all from a web control panel.
That is pretty cool.
And it sends back, it's already, I need to look through it, but it's already told me where I've got some security vulnerabilities in my network, basically. Where it's like, oh, here's some things you should probably change. So, yeah, when you say bargain bin, right? But in terms of the price, yeah, for the particular series that we're using, it's like $300, $400 some dollars for a year. Without any discounts. We got a discount on it, so that's why we're using it. And I've actually been pretty pleased with it. Except for the weird issue where it caused our religious education coordinator to not be able to print from their laptop. Because apparently it just decided that when you install it by default, it's going to block printing to printers over a wireless network.
Yeah, probably because printers are evil. Because no one should ever interact with a printer ever.
Oh, that's like, I love how there's companies out there that literally like legit only do printers. It's like, I'm okay with that. You can legit only do printers. Like, not, I'm not gonna argue against that. Like, no problem with that. Like, go do your thing. I don't want to touch them. Like, nope.
I would want to quit my job if all I could do was printers.
Okay, so let me ask you. So, well, you probably don't have to, right? Or do you?
Do printers?
Yeah.
Oh, you bet I have to do printers.
Is it one of those things in the office where you just get assigned it and like that's what it is? Like you have no choice? Or is this one of those things where it's like, oh, we got to go fix a printer, and then like you all go around in a circle, like draw the short straw?
No, it's not really like that.
Oh, I bet you wish it was though.
Yeah, I'd probably fix a lot fewer of them. We have this dumb thing called Printer Logic where they can like install printers from the web browser. The users can.
What?
But when it breaks, it's so annoying.
So, okay, so I have something similar-ish. It's called Cups. And so it basically runs on top of it's basically a Linux print server. So that I can print to our my printer from like my phone or my Chromebook or something like that. It was getting the drivers installed for your printer on Linux is a little interesting. Now that I know how to do it, it's not that bad. But yeah, and then once I did that, like getting Cup set up was actually really, really easy. So actually Debian even has that as an option when you're setting it up, where it's like, do you want to install a print server? It's like, sure, okay, I guess. Click. Good to go. So, what are you typically fixing?
I'd probably say no because like printers are evil. And it's just like that's just not something I need on my computer at all.
So, you don't even own a printer, do you?
Heck no.
Look, okay, so
I don't own a printer, and I hopefully never will. If I ever need to own a printer, I'm going to buy like some $30 bargain bin dumpster printer from like Target that probably doesn't even have a network card. And good thing, because printers with network cards are just that much more evil.
you know, okay, actually I shouldn't say that. Really the only issue I've ever had with our laser printer in the house is that for some reason when the power would go out or something like that, it would randomly decide it wouldn't quite grab a new IP address quite well or something like that. So anyway, I just set a static IP address to the printer, and I haven't had an issue in years.
Alert! Alert! You cannot print this black and white document because your printer is out of cyan. Please go buy more cyan.
Okay, I will give you that. That is dumb. I will give you that one.
Alert! Alert! We can't print in this document because nondescript Windows error that means literally nothing. Alert! Try again. Oh, thanks, printer.
I'll tell you a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story though. So our office secretary calls me one morning, or maybe she texted me. I can't remember. And basically, she's like, "Yeah, I can't print this document." And I'm like, "Okay." So I get up, half awake, and I remote in to her system, and I say, "Okay, show me what you were doing," right? So she goes, click. So she's like, I went here, and then I went here, and then I hit the print button, and then I hear the printer start up in the background. And she's just kind of like, I hate you. It's like, I don't know. I'm going back to bed now. Anyway.
Peachy.
So, yeah. Anyway. How about we talk about some tech topics this week?
Okay.
What do you say?
If you fancy it.
I mean, that is kind of what this show is about. Aww. Hang on. I forgot to copy the Microsoft news over this, or the link to the Microsoft news. So hold on. Oh yeah, this week's Microsoft news is gotta be funny. Anyway. Okay. First things first. Let's open the first topic real quick here. So, yeah, so this is kind of interesting, Zach. Iran is going to ban cryptocurrency mining for 4 months to stave off blackouts. Iran is temporarily banning.
Power grid.
Yeah, Iran is temporarily banning cryptocurrency mining after some of the country's major cities experienced repeated blackouts. The president there said that the ban would last until September 22nd. The country has experienced summer blackouts in years past, and while the current round of outages is mostly being blamed on a drought that's affecting the country's ability to generate hydroelectric power. Oh, that's interesting.
Are they seriously, like, are there that many people trying to mine cryptocurrency in Iran that it's actually affecting the power grid an appreciable amount? That seems a little bit crazy to me, but maybe it's possible. I don't know.
Well, okay, I could be wrong. I feel like Iran is somewhat of a poor country,
Well,
and
probably, yeah.
I'm stereotyping here.
On the matter,
No, I'm not an expert on the matter either. So if I offend anybody, I apologize. But I feel like that is where some of these phone scams are originate from as well. I could be wrong on that, but
obviously the stereotype is India,
right? Which we typically see. But the reason I bring that up is because if that is the case, then I could see people trying to look for a way to make money, and I mean, cryptocurrency mining is, kind of the new craze thing. So I could maybe see that. Especially if you're in a poorer country where maybe your power grid is not as stable as, like a first world country or something like that. So I could maybe see that.
Right, but also, the availability of hardware to mine with.
Well, I wonder what that kind of availability looks like. I mean, you are closer to the source of a lot of that hardware.
It doesn't matter. Does it?
It could.
I have no idea. Look, I don't know. We're probably talking about something that we probably shouldn't.
No, I don't know logistic.
Completely dumb about it.
I don't know logistic wise. I'm just saying that, like, if you think about it,
they think that cryptocurrency mining is affecting the power grid. So who are we to argue? I don't know.
Oh, I just mean in terms of the availability of the hardware. Think about it. If because that's going to be like Asia-ish over there, right? Think about it. If you're not having to transport things over, the ocean, right? It's all kind of on one large landmass. Like, the availability of the product might be higher.
I feel like that's probably not the case.
I don't know. I'm not a logistics expert. But anyway, so yeah, it's basically affecting the country's ability to generate hydroelectric power because of the Syrian drought. It seems that the Iranian government is eager to cut down on any aggravating factors. Power-hungry cryptocurrency mining operations, for instance. So according to the BBC, Iran operates a program where Bitcoin miners must register with the government, pay extra for electricity, and sell their coins to the central bank.
That seems like, why bother mining then? Because the bank can just be like, well, this is the price. And you better not sell to anyone else.
Because I'm sure that there are ways that people are getting around that.
Well, that may be the case.
So the president stated that the legal mining operations in the country consume around 300 milliwatts a day. I don't know if that's a lot.
I have no idea if that's a lot, yeah. I don't know how much that is.
Iran state-owned grid operator Tavanir reportedly claimed a more conservative daily usage of 209 milliwatts. Either number is small compared to the 200 milliwatts that Al Jazeera reports is used by illegal miners. Ah, there you go. Yep.
Right, yes, so it is the illegal mining.
Which reportedly makes up 85% of the country's operations. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, yeah, frankly, if I wanted to mine cryptocurrency, and the government was telling me that I could only sell the coins to one buyer, which dictated the price, yeah, I wouldn't want to sell.
Yeah, and I have to pay extra for electricity?
And I have to pay more to do it. Yeah, no thanks. Well, it's probably a case of people who choose to mine are going to do it illegally because most of the people who would do it legally just look at it and they're like, this isn't even worth the trouble at all.
Yeah, that's true.
So leaving the only people left doing it, the people who are doing it illegally.
The deputy minister of electricity and energy even told one news organization that miners were using the free electricity afforded to mosques to run mining operations.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. They take mining seriously, I guess.
Again, I believe that Iran is a somewhat poor country. So if you can find a way of making money, especially by, basically, what's the word that I want? Being a parasite, right? That's the wrong word, but if you're using the free energy from the mosque, you're kind of being a parasite, sort of. Is where I'm
quite literally being a parasite.
Exactly, that's where I'm going with that. Where so
that's just what a parasite means. That's a dictionary definition. It's not a commentary on anything. It's just that's it. That's what the dictionary says a parasite does.
So anyway, yeah. So I can see that, being a way where people are going to try to make some money doing that. Yeah, if you can, mooch, that's the word I was looking for. If you can mooch off the free energy of, or, that loophole there where mosques get free energy, yeah, if you're not having to pay for the energy costs, to mine.
And it's all profit. Yes.
Well, yeah, after you obtain the hardware.
After you get hardware, yes.
So, So the president seemed to joke about how much mining was unlicensed in the country, saying that everybody has a few mining layers around and are producing bitcoins, though he also said that the unlicensed miners were the reason for the ban, which will apply to all mining in the country. The only question I have about this is how are they going to enforce this?
If they're doing it illegally already.
Yeah, how are they going to...
Why would they suddenly decide to start following the law?
Yeah, how are they going to enforce that?
Now, perhaps the penalties for illegally mining are not very severe, and the penalties for double illegally mining will be higher.
I like that.
Might be a thing.
Double illegally mining.
I don't know. But,
you're already doing something illegal. Now you're doing it doubly illegally. I'm sorry, Zach. That's just I think that's funny. Anyway, so according to the BBC, the licensed mining operations have already voluntarily shut down. While it could be argued that those who were already breaking the law may not be likely to stop because the government told them to. Mm-hmm. Yes, Iran has been cracking down on the unlicensed operations, enlisting spies to track them down. Okay, interesting.
So what do you do, secret agent? I track down illicit Bitcoin. Oh, okay, we'll look out for this guy. He tracks down illicit Bitcoins.
Travanier.
Yeah, see, I look at their power bills, and then I'm like, whoa, Bob over here, his power bill's like 5 times higher than his neighbor. What's he doing?
Oh, so this is interesting here, Zach. So Travanair is also going to be providing rewards for reporting people who are mining illegally.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So, yeah.
I mean, hey, just drive down the street with a thermal camera and just look in everybody's windows and you'll be like, ooh, Bob's living room is pretty toasty. Wonder what he's got going on in there.
Oh, I shouldn't say this because I'm gonna get myself in trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The guy's name is not Bob. Let's be honest.
Look, I'm just using a generic name, okay? That I don't know. I just was like, hey, Bob's a name.
Am I the only person that gets slightly bothered when I call?
Bob's probably not a very common name in Iran, but you know what?
No, okay, hang on. Am I the only person that gets slightly annoyed when I call a tech support line and they give the person a American name? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I mean, I don't like to... honestly, I'm just annoyed when I'm calling a tech support line.
Oh, I know.
No matter what, so kind of
actually
redundant.
That's an interesting question. What was the last time you called a tech support line?
This week, actually, I had to call CenturyLink because a site's phone line went down, and the person who's actually a phone expert couldn't be bothered. So I called CenturyLink, and I was like, hey, I don't know anything about phones. I'm from the central office IT. But yeah, this and that site, they don't have phone service. Please help me. And they were like, oh, do you have a PRI circuit number? And I'm like, a what? And then I bugged the phone guy, like, hey, can you give me this? They want to know. And then he didn't answer. So I had to tell him, well, I don't know. All I have is an account number and a phone number that they're supposed to be using. Okay, detective work. Hey, we found it. Okay, cool. Phone guy gets back to me with a different PRI circuit number. Oh, okay, even better. Just, it was awful.
So I think I just answered my own question then. So it must be a VoIP system.
Then they, yes, it's a VoIP system internally, I think, but only internally. Externally, it's like actually a phone line.
No. Real phone lines don't exist anymore, Zach.
You sure?
No. Everything is VoIP as soon as it leaves. Like,
okay, well, I don't know anything about phones.
Okay, at least
educate me. I don't know. I don't like phones. They're horrible. They're seriously just horribly complicated.
No, they're not. Says the person who's never actually really worked with them.
I've seen a phone system before at my last job.
Are you
We
okay?
had this thing called Zoltus or whatever.
Was it a PB? Well, okay. What kind
And
of
it was
PBX
like our
system?
internal phone system.
Right, but
And
what kind
like,
of
the console just was the most horrendously complicated thing.
what kind of PBX system was it though? Was it like a traditional like? Was
I don't
it
know
VoIP?
what a PBX is.
It's okay. Was it VoIP or was it all like hardline, like traditional phone, like copper lines?
Which thing?
The internal. Okay, so usually.
Oh, it was all VoIP.
Oh, okay. So
It was
usually,
all VoIP, but it was like still hideously complicated.
well, yeah, okay. So all of your phone lines are going to come into a bunch of switches somewhere.
Okay, well, hey, you know what CenturyLink did? They finally were like, yeah, we're going to open a ticket. And so they open a ticket, they send a tech, and I get some, like, vague response back that, well, they didn't find a problem or that it all tested good. Okay, cool. Great. Well, apparently, they also had a ticket with the site staff that read a completely different thing. That they found this and that problem, and that they were going to do this and that about it. And then phone guy gets back to me and he's like, yeah, we have this and that part on overnight order to fix it. And I'm like, so what actually happened?
So was it?
And then the next day they fixed it, and I'm like, all right, time to close these like million tickets about it. I don't care about it anymore.
Was
Forget
it an internal
Don't wanna know.
problem? Was it with your internal hardware, or
I
was it?
don't know.
Oh, okay, you don't know.
I don't know.
See,
I
okay.
actually think that something on CenturyLink's end caused the problem internally.
So okay,
That's the best explanation I can
here's my
provide. I don't know.
here's my understanding of how a VoIP system works, right? So you get what's called a SIP line, right?
Yes.
From a provider, and that SIP line basically carries your voice data, right? And your SIP line is what gives you a number, right? So that goes into, usually you have some kind of PBX system. I don't know what PBX stands for, but the PBX system is the system that is responsible for actually keeping track of like what everyone's extensions are, and it's basically the management console for it, right? And then that just gets connected into your network somewhere, and then all the phones get connected into the network. And then you do some other stuff like QoS and things like that to, like, you know, make things better and stuff like that. But anyway, the only reason I know some of this stuff is because I've been slightly looking into it, because I am considering moving our church to a VoIP
God.
system.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No! Okay, look! Here's the thing, right? So some of our staff is still somewhat working from home, right? And so here would be the thing about a VoIP system is that
Yes,
I can put a soft phone on somebody else's actual phone, and let's say they're not there for the day, right? Let's say they're sick, like our office secretary, right? She could work from home, VPN into the network,
And have her office phone.
and have her office phone there too, and still answer phone calls. Look, I think the thing is and there are different ways we could do it, right? So I could run a PBX system on site, right? Or we could pay a little bit more money and have the telephone company manage all of that for us. And so basically all we do is we plug a phone into the Ethernet jack.
Probably worth it, because they are seriously just
I think before I do anything at the church, I'm gonna start small scale at home. And
phone systems and printers. Just no. Just no.
I feel like phone systems are less of a problem. I don't know. That's
I haven't done much work with them, but from what I've seen, everything is just horrifically complicated.
I think where it starts getting complicated is when you start going with the SIP lines and things like that. So here's how our telephone system works in our home, right? Okay, don't laugh, but we still have a landline.
I'm sorry, but that's pretty funny.
So we still have a landline, right? The church still has a traditional landline, right? But as soon as it exits the building and hits the ONT, which I'm not quite sure what ONT stands for, but basically the ONT is a box that is on the outside of the building, and what it is responsible for is basically splitting the fiber signals, because we have fiber coming from the telephone company to not only the church, but my home as well. And so it goes into this box called an ONT, and then the ONT basically figures out where everything is supposed to split off. It's like, oh, okay, this traffic's internet, and it sends it this way. Oh, and this traffic is voice, and it sends it this way. And if you have TV, it'll figure that out too, and then it'll send the TV stuff off the way it's supposed to be too. Anyway, so it breaks up all the signals, and then it combines them back together and sends them back to the... So anyway, so internally, yes, we're still using traditional copper... RJ, is it RJ11? Well, those are the connectors. I can't think of what the actual cable is, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, the traditional, like, 4-wire telephone cable, right? We're still using that throughout the entire church and throughout the house here, right? But as soon as it hits the ONT on the outside of the building, it turns into VoIP. So that's why I say I think all phone systems, for the most part, are VoIP these days. Nothing travels through traditional telephone wire outside of houses.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So anyway, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, there you go. Iran is banning cryptocurrency mining for a while. So yeah, there you go. Let's talk about this real quick. Zach, there's a scummy iOS app that was discovered that refuses to open unless you do this. What do you think it is?
Send them some money.
No. You have to leave it a good review.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. A lot of apps will try to bribe you to make a good review.
App developer and scam app hunter, Costa.
Why not just leave a review like 5 stars, but like the text of the review is like, this app is terrible, don't use it.
Because it
and
probably
then,
would
review bomb it that way.
Because it would probably flag it. Anyway, so there's an app.
It?
Yeah, because it would probably look at what you actually put in the text, like in the actual message box.
Would it really though?
I could see it doing it. Anyway, so an app developer and scam app hunter. Latest discovery is a real doozy. An iOS app that refuses to function before you give it at least a 3-star review in the App Store. Although the UPN,
geez, you might as well at least go for gold if you're gonna do that. Gosh, demand 5. What are you doing? You're already catching heat. You might as well get more for it.
Yeah. So.
Scammers.
Let's see. Although the UPnP Extreme app, which claimed to let users stream video to their TVs, now appears to have been pulled, which The Verge was able to verify that it generates the App Store rating box the second it opens. You can't dismiss the rating box, nor can you tap the 1 or 2 star rating. So yeah, The Verge verified this behavior, but some other users report they were able to dismiss the dialog box or leave a lower rating. Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, what made them think that, like, seriously, no one would have an issue with this at all?
What makes
really
Microsoft think they can keep shoving Edge down people's throats and they're still going to use it?
Probably the fact that some actually do.
And some people actually decided they wanted to use the app and left them reviews.
Yes, probably true.
Anyway, so this is just the latest scummy app to have been unearthed by this particular researcher who's been waging a war against them after his own Apple Watch keyboard app, FlickType, was overtaken by expensive apps with fake reviews. This guy says Apple has removed over 100 apps as a result of his reports, but it's concerning that the multi-billion-dollar company isn't catching these scams during its App Store review process. Yeah, which is really funny.
Wait, yeah, I thought Apple was, like, strict about what they allow. I thought that was one of their arguments of why you should have an iPhone.
Something.
Why competing app stores shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
because
something. Apple
can't
versus
vet the
Epic.
apps.
Yes.
Really? You vetted this?
Yeah, something.
You decided this was legit? Did you?
Yeah, remember the something Apple versus Epic war?
Yes. I'm sure that's still happening in the courts.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But my point is that yes, you're right. Like, right? Yeah, isn't Apple supposed to have this like incredible, like, you know, like way over the top review process? And yet the stuff is slipping through. So, and like every time you submit an update, like they have to approve it, I think.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
You know what I wonder if it is? I wonder if after an app is reviewed, you know, I wonder if it's them reviewed by some kind of algorithm or something like that, where it's like, oh, this app has been, you know, consistently good for yada yada amount of time, and it just kind of looks at it and is like, yep, should be good.
I don't know.
The UPnP Extreme app's behavior directly contradicts one of the best practices Apple lists on its developer site, which states that developers should avoid showing a request for a review immediately when a user launches your app. Generally, developers are
What
allowed...
happened to the part where you like actually try the app to determine what you think about it?
Yeah, I know. Hang on. Generally, developers aren't allowed to prompt for a rating, or excuse me, are allowed to prompt for a rating up to 3 times in a 365-day period. I think that's
Stupid.
I think it's fair, but
How about don't ever prompt me for a rating ever, or I'm automatically going to give you a worse rating.
oh, as soon as one of those boxes pops up that says, "Excuse me, hey, would you like to?
Rating?
Yeah, would you like to
No.
review this app?" No.
Never. Never ever.
Actually, so one of the apps that, or one of the programmers that I have at work for programming vehicle keys, is on a tablet. It's got a tablet app, and it will periodically ask, "Hey, would you please rate the program?" And we always give it like 2 stars because that pops up.
Yeah, seems reasonable to me.
Right? Apple's review process has been
Why not 1?
I don't know. Because the program actually does work. Anyway, so Apple's review process has been under particularly intense scrutiny recently because of Epic Games' lawsuit against the company. Yeah. Central to this dispute is the 30% commission Apple takes on many App Store payments and in-app purchases. Apple argues it needs the commission to run the App Store.
$1 trillion company, here,
Right?
by the way.
And create a safe environment for users. Really? A safe environment for users? Yet what are you doing with that, you know, how many billions
Where's
of
that
dollars?
money going?
Yeah, where's that money
It's
going?
obviously not going to review apps.
But that argument immediately gets undermined pretty quickly if obvious scammy apps are able to slip through Apple's review process. Exactly.
Yes.
Apps like the ones discovered by this guy not only harm customers who end up downloading scummy software and can get tricked into paying for difficult to cancel reoccurring subscriptions, it also harms legitimate developers who have to contend with apps that are willing to play dirty to get the good reviews needed to rise up the App Store's rankings, which is probably why they're doing this. This guy filed a lawsuit against Apple earlier this year, arguing it exploits its monopoly power over iOS apps to make money at the expense of app developers and consumers. Yeah.
Good luck with that lawsuit.
Let's see. Oh, okay, that's sorry. Sorry, I started reading something else on this page, but it's part of another article, so we're gonna leave that out. Yeah, you're right though. It is one of those things where it's like, okay, so Apple claims that they need all this money for all these people to review apps and all this stuff, right? And yeah, like you said, that argument kind of flies out the window when stuff like this happens. It's like, hey, Apple, what are you doing with that money that you said you were using to make the App Store better, to make it a safe and secure place for people? Like, comments? Which they're going to respond with some, generic PR speak, but anyway, yeah. So, time for everyone's favorite part of the show. It is time for Microsoft news. And this week's Microsoft news is going to be one of those things where, well, let me read the title, Zach, and then I will let you react. Microsoft claims Edge is now the best performing browser on Windows 10.
Okay, actually, I have no idea if that's true, but I don't care either, because here's the thing. The reason people don't use Edge isn't because it's slow. It sucks for other reasons.
Actually, probably not. It probably doesn't suck as much as it used to because it's basically Chrome, because Microsoft can't
Chrome.
Actually make a web browser to save their rear ends.
I forgot that it's basically Chrome. That's how little I care about Edge.
Yeah, it's basically Chrome with a Microsoft skin on it.
Yes it is. That's got to be very embarrassing for them. Like, I just imagine being like a Google executive hearing this, like, oh, Microsoft just asked to license our browser.
Now they didn't even have to license it because the Chromium browser, I think, is free.
You get what I mean. I know.
But yeah, you're right. It is kind of funny.
That's just got to be pretty embarrassing. Like, they just gave up. They're like, fine, you win.
Yeah, so Microsoft is now claiming that is now claiming the performance crown in the desktop browser battle. The software maker has been gradually adding new features to Edge over the past year to improve performance and launch times. These additions have allowed Microsoft to claim itself the performance winner, even as Google releases Chrome 91. Microsoft Edge will be the best performing browser on Windows 10 when Microsoft Edge version 91 releases later this week, says the Microsoft Edge team in a blog post. So why can we say this? It's simple. Startup Boost and Sleeping Tabs. Startup Boost and Sleeping Tabs. Okay. How much do you want to bet that... Actually, there probably is some truth to this right here, right? But how much do you want to bet it's due to the fact that Microsoft has probably found a way to optimize Edge on its own operating system? That
seems reasonable, yes. But again, the reason people don't like Edge isn't because it's slow. They don't like it because Microsoft crams it down their throats and because it sucked for years before they just aped Chrome.
I think you're right. I think that, okay, so I personally don't use Edge, right? But I think that, I think there's the stigma, whether it's right or not,
people just naturally don't like something that's crammed down their throats.
Well, okay, there is that, right? But regardless of that fact, if that weren't the case, I still think I wouldn't use Edge because it is a Microsoft browser, right? And traditionally, Microsoft has not made a great browser. So they don't have a good track record in that sense.
Except for when Internet Explorer was like the king.
That's because it was included on every single computer.
But wasn't it... I seem to recall that its early iterations were actually competitive. And then
there probably is some truth to that. But I told you
after that, it was just...
I told you as a web developer, it sucked because you would you had to...
But again, the user doesn't think about a web developer.
No, you're right. But
it sucks to a user.
Well, okay, hang on though.
Doesn't matter to...
Hang on, because when you design a website, right, and it looks fine on Chrome and Firefox and...
I'm talking like the 90s.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but as you started
During
getting
the
earlier,
early
right?
days of IE.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I'm saying as you started getting more, right? You would have to create specific styles for the Microsoft,
For IE.
yeah, for IE, because otherwise your site would not look right.
Yep.
Which, yeah, that was annoying.
Yep.
So Microsoft first started rolling out its new Startup Boost feature in Edge back in March, with claims that it makes browser launches up to 41% faster. The new Sleeping Tabs feature also appeared earlier this year, designed to improve browser performance. Edge now automatically releases system resources for individual tabs, or inactive tabs, which help new tabs run better or stop the browser from hogging memory and CPU resources in the background. Microsoft is also working on a separate performance mode for Edge that's currently in testing. Yeah, but okay, look, okay, yes, Chrome has been known to be a resource hog.
Oh, Chrome is a notorious memory hog. Like, everyone's seen the dumb...
I feel like
oh, I need to download more RAM. I'm using Google Chrome.
I feel like
so funny. Like,
I feel like Google has probably started to work on that problem though, knowing that it is a problem.
Right.
I don't know. I can't say. I don't really follow what the new updates in Chrome are very well. I will say Chrome is my preferred browser of choice. So my second preferred browser of choice is going to be Firefox, which I do use as a secondary browser. But Chrome is my number one go-to. I'm already ingrained in the Google ecosystem anyway, so like why not? But anyway. So Google hasn't been sitting around letting Chrome eat up more RAM either. Recent updates to Chrome have included a bigger focus on performance, with a more advanced memory allocator to reduce memory usage and increase performance. The last update to Chrome in 2020 was also all about efficiency. Microsoft has also revealed it has now submitted 5,300 comments to the Chromium browser project. Comments? I think that's what that is. Which will also benefit Chrome and other Chromium-based browsers. While Sleeping Tabs and Startup Boost are features for Edge, Microsoft has helped Google improve Chrome's tab management, and the rivals have worked together on a variety of underlying Chromium improvements. Okay, interesting. It's still not going to get me to switch to Edge.
No, of course not.
So, there's that. But yeah, no, it's not going to get me to switch to Edge. So, this is fun. There is a brand new M1 vulnerability.
That didn't take very long.
Yeah, so this isn't a specific article. So this is going to be kind of all over the place. Let's see. But basically a flaw in the design of Apple Silicon M1 chip. Get this, Zach. It allows any two applications running under an OS to covertly exchange data between them.
What would you do with that?
Yeah.
So, do both applications have to be, let's say, cooperative with each other?
Okay, so it says without using memory, sockets, files, or other normal operating system features. This works between processes running as different users and under different privilege levels, creating a covert channel for surreptitious data exchange. Surreptitious, yeah.
So, I wonder, okay, as different user, well, I guess that means that, like, an application run as one user could cooperate with an application run as another user to, like, I don't know, steal information from that person, maybe? Or
elevate its permissions.
That actually, well, That now obviously that I guess that information theft could be used to elevate its permissions potentially. Like, let's say that user is an administrator. Well, let's just nick their password real quick. But
Yeah, well, okay, so I wonder
Well, I don't
about that
know.
because you
I
have to
wonder.
remember that.
I'm sure that there's an obvious
Yeah,
use for this.
I wonder about that
exploit
though
I missed.
because okay, so how low level does that get? Because see, here's the thing. So Mac OS X is I don't think it's Unix based, fully Unix based, but it's based on, or I don't think it's fully Unix, but it's based on Unix, right? Which
I
is
don't know.
Linux,
Yeah, I
right?
think so. Linux is based on Unix.
Right. But here's the thing about elevated permissions in Linux is unless you are part of the sudo group, right? You still have to elevate your permissions, even if you're an administrator. So I wonder how that works. I don't know if a system can bypass that because usually when you install an application, like when I install an application on my Mac, I have to put my password in.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I shouldn't be talking about this because I'm a Linux person. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are ways.
Regardless, that sentence right there, it allows any two chips or any two applications running under an OS to covertly exchange data between them. That's
Again,
not concerning.
The potential, the potential, of course, would be highly dependent on whether or not both applications have to be cooperative. I presume both applications have to be cooperative.
I don't think they have to be because
I
again,
would think so. If it's just that would just mean that you would need like that you could just have one application that can just steal from any other.
yeah, but this says again, it's without using memory, sockets, files, or any other normal operating system features.
Huh.
So it's all at the chip level. And it's a vulnerability that's baked into Apple Silicon chips.
Well, I guess it means that it would open the door to... Wouldn't it open the door to spyware that would be basically undetectable?
I don't know. Okay, so technical details. Okay, so the ARM system register encoded as S3_5_C15_C10_1.
I have no idea what I'm talking
Yeah, is accessible from EL0. Okay, I don't know what any of that means. And contains two implemented bits that can be read or written. Okay, that makes sense. Bit 0 and 1. This is a per cluster register that can be simultaneously accessed by all cores in a cluster. This makes it a 2-bit converter channel that any
What's going on?
arbitrary process can use to exchange data with another cooperating process. Okay, there you go. Yep. Okay. A malicious pair of cooperating processes may build a robust channel out of this 2-bit state by using a clock and data protocol. So example, one side writes 1x to send data, the other side writes 00 to request the next bit. This allows the process to exchange an arbitrary amount of data bound only by CPU overhead. CPU core affinity APIs can be used to ensure that both processes are scheduled on the same CPU core cluster. I don't know what any of this means, but okay, there you go. I think that answers your question. Yes, it has to be cooperative.
And also our question of what can you do with this?
Well, let's see. So frequently asked questions.
Stuff and things is the answer.
Who is affected? All Apple M1 users running any operating system system on bare metal. Let's see. Am I affected? I love this. Probably.
On bare metal. So unless you use virtual machines, you're affected. Okay. That's funny.
Yeah. Am I affected? Probably. macOS users, at least versions 11.0 and onwards are affected. Linux users, versions 5.13 and onward are affected. Let's see. Are there Apple CPUs affected? Maybe, but I don't have an iPhone or a DTK to test it. Blah, 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 blah. Are non-Apple CPUs affected? No. Are VMs affected? It says no. Correctly implemented hypervisors should disable guest access to the this registry by default, and this feature works correctly on the M1, which mitigates the issue. Both hypervisor.framework on macOS and KVM on Linux do this and are not affected. Okay. How can I protect myself, Zach? What do you think this says?
You can't.
You can. The solution is to only, or the only mitigation available to users is to run your entire OS as a VM.
Oh, wait, yeah. I forgot about that bit. Perfect.
Oh, it's actually kind of funny.
Well, and you can imagine that the person who buys Apple products is probably having a serious breakdown right now. Like, oh my god, what the heck is any of this? Just
Let me
what
say,
is going on?
Well, let me say something about that in a second. Hang on. Does the mitigation have a performance impact?
Yes.
Yes. Running your entire OS as a VM has a performance impact. That sounds bad. Well, yeah. Don't do that. It'd be silly. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. Can malware use this vulnerability to take over my computer? This guy says no. Okay, so there's some positivity.
I guess that would make sense. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really an expert on this kind of thing at all.
No, I'm not either.
I don't know. We're just basically talking a bunch of trash today here. But it's interesting to hear about, I guess.
Can this exploit, or can this be exploited from Java apps? Wait, people still use Java?
I presume so, yes.
I think Java is an old way of building applications. Can this be exploited from Flash applets?
Who knows?
Just stop. Just stop.
I'm sure Flash can be exploited.
Please stop.
A lot of different ways.
Please stop.
No, don't use Flash. Bad. Flash is bad. Don't use it.
I love this. Wait, is this even real? Is it? Oh my god, the frequently asked questions of this website is actually hilarious.
Is this real? Well, I don't know. I mean,
okay, so
we can't even prove that you're real. So
we might all be inside of the Matrix.
It might be a simulation. So I don't know. Like, you can have an existential crisis about it if you want, but.
So anyway, okay, this is a good one. So what's the real danger? Well, if you already have malware on your computer, that malware can communicate with other malware on your computer in an unexpected way. Chances are it could communicate in plenty of expected ways anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. If you were pwned, you were already pwned.
Oh, this is interesting. So how is this a vulnerability if you can't exploit it? Well, it violates the OS security model. You're not supposed to be able to send data from one process to another secretly. And even if harmless in this case, you're not supposed to be able to write to random CPU system registries from user space either. I don't know how all that stuff works, but yeah, that sounds legitimate. It was fairly lucky that the bug can be mitigated in VMs, as the registers still respond to VM-related access controls. Had this not been the case, the impact would have been more severe. Anyway, okay, so long story short, holy mackerel, okay. Long story short on this, right, is, and this was something that was said with the M1 processor, right, and it's part of the reason why I would never buy a first-gen system like this, and that is if you think about it, Zach, right? You are essentially paying for the privilege to be a beta tester.
Yes.
So,
although to be fair, the improvements were pretty significant.
Okay, so one of my coworkers actually did buy an M1 Mac. I should see if I can borrow it for like an afternoon, and I'm curious to see. I haven't experienced an M1 Mac, so I'm actually curious to see kind of what it's like. We heard really good. Well, okay, so there was all the speculation initially, if you remember, where we're like, oh, Apple's building its own silicon, and like this is probably going to be a complete disaster. And I don't know.
I didn't think it was going to be a disaster.
Okay, well, okay. Maybe not a complete disaster, but we didn't know what to expect. But I don't think I don't think the entire industry expected it to actually perform as well as it did. Because then it came out and everyone was like, oh, this is actually way better than we kind of expected it to be.
But I thought you just said we didn't really have any expectations at all.
We ourselves.
That's true, yes.
But the industry itself, the tech industry, I think as a whole kind of was like, like they had some ideas, but I don't think they expected it to be as good as they expected, as it actually ended up being. I think that kind of took everyone by surprise a little bit and was like, oh, actually, this didn't suck as much as we thought it was going to. So, there's that, right? But like I said, I haven't had a chance to play with one yet. I should see if I can get my hands on this Mac and just kind of explore it a little bit. I don't know. I'm interested. Techie stuff. Anyway. Oh yeah, this is going to be interesting. So NVIDIA is teasing a GeForce RTX 3080 Ti announcement for just a couple days from now, May 31st.
Yeah, it's pretty much all but confirmed there will be 80 Ti's. They're also doing this thing where it's going to be like a low hash rate version, which is pretty funny.
Is that to prevent people from buying it for
mining? Yep.
Mining?
Because, well, again, they're going to give you the spiel about how, it's because we like gamers.
Okay, hang on.
It's because they want to sell to miners the overpriced mining versions of the card. That's why.
Well, there's probably some truth to that. Now, hold on. Hang on. Okay, does that leave more space in the market for actual gamers to hopefully get their hands on a card? Or is this going to be...
it might leave a little.
Is this going to be the 30 series, launch all over again, where it's just going to be a complete disaster and scalpers are going to...
It's probably going to be the 30 series launch all over again.
And scalpers are just going to buy up all the product.
Going to be buying them. Less miners are going to buy them. They're still going to go into Flash.
You know what would be really funny? Is if the...
that said...
the mining cards get bought up the same way.
The mining companies that were buying huge numbers of cards, they weren't buying them on, like, Newegg. Hello?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure not. No, they were...
No, they have, like, purchasing people.
Yeah, they were buying them in pallet quantities.
Yes.
So... yeah, okay, so... NVIDIA is teasing a GeForce event for May 31st, the same day the company is rumored to be launching its new GeForce RTX 3080 Ti graphics card. A mysterious 11-second teaser video has appeared on Twitter, simply revealing a GeForce event for 10 p.m. Pacific time. Excuse me. On May 31st, or 1 a.m. Eastern time on June 1st. That's
what the card will actually be remains to be seen. My bet is on a nerfed 3090 with less VRAM. I mean, that's
less VRAM.
Yes.
I thought the
3080 Ti, not a.
Oh, it's a 3080. Sorry, I know, but I thought the Ti versions were supposed to be, like higher performance.
Not than the 3090 or the well, traditionally the 80 Ti was a nerfed Titan with half the VRAM, or some amount of the VRAM.
Okay, yes, and I remember
in this case there is no Titan because NVIDIA wants you to believe that is demonstrably not the case, but they want you to believe that the 3090 is the equivalent of the Titan. So naturally, the 3080 Ti would.
Is it though? Because okay, as advancements in technology have come out, right? Okay, is it fair to say that graphics cards, a mid-range graphics card, or what used to be a high-end graphics card, has become more of what a mid-range graphics card is now?
Well, yes.
Is that true?
I guess what are you trying to make a point? Like, what are you trying to argue against that I said though? I guess
what I'm saying is like, okay, so they want you to believe that the 3090 is the new Titan, right?
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that the same performance that you used to pay for a top end graphics card, let's say a 30, or a 1080, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can now get that performance at a much cheaper price with a lower. Well, I wouldn't just lower performing, a more mid-range card.
Yes, that's the case because that's just how generational improvements work.
Right.
But again, the point that I was trying to make is not that. It's that relative to the other products in the stack, the 3090 is not as much more powerful as historical Titans have been compared to the rest of their product stacks.
Well, and Titans are kind of the over-the-top, like... They're not the holy grail of what NVIDIA's line is it?
No.
Are those the Quadros?
Yes.
So...
Although, well, Titan... So... I mean, you'd have, like, FP64, and which would be nerfed on the gaming cards. Titan historically did have high-precision compute, less nerfed, but I think the Quadros are still less nerfed further.
See, okay, so when we start talking about graphics cards here, right? I don't understand how
I have very, very little knowledge of what the professional GPU market looks like and is used for.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me any more questions.
I'm just saying, in terms of the lineup, okay, there was the GeForce series, right, which is like the low end stuff, right?
And that's for gamers, because gamers are peasants and they don't get high precision computing.
That's for gaming, the GeForce series?
GeForce is for gaming, yes. Quadro is for workstations.
Oh, am I thinking of the GT series?
Yes.
Okay, so the GT series is
GeForce though. Like GeForce as a whole is
on paper,
it's for gamers, right?
Okay.
Quadro's for workstations and like professional stuff. And then Tesla is like for AI.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that. So walk me through the NVIDIA stack. So where do you start? Because so like I know Well, no, but I know like processors, right? So like let's say Intel, right? So you've got Intel's lineup where you've got like, your Celerons. Can you still get a Celeron?
Maybe? I don't know.
Okay, so you've got your Pentiums, right? You got your Pentiums, and then you've got your i series, or you got your i3, your i7, your i9. Right?
Yes.
So what does that lineup look like for NVIDIA products? Where do you start? What would be your, like lowest of the low? Those are like the GT series, right?
The GTs, yes.
Okay. And then what do you get? The GTX series?
Yes.
Okay. And where do they go from there?
Let's take a look at historical Quadro and Tesla.
Oh, okay, so that's the next step, the Quadros and the Teslas.
Yes.
Okay, and the more numbers...
obviously cost more.
Right, and the more numbers, the higher the numbers...
Tesla are historically usually for like data centers and AI and stuff like that. They don't have GPU outputs.
They're for crunching numbers.
They're for crunching numbers. Although, I mean, it's not that you can't game on a Tesla. I mean, if you, let's say you purchase a subscription to a cloud gaming service, you're probably running on a Tesla.
On bare metal, though, like, a Quadro is going to not...
Definitely not on bare metal.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't use a Quadro for gaming, would you?
Quadros are actually, as far as I'm aware, typically not as good. Because the drivers aren't made for gaming.
they're made for studio
They're
work.
made for like workstation tasks. I don't know, like CAD and maybe super high-end editing and whatever else people do with the Quadros.
Okay, so what about on the fly rendering though? Because I
What do you
believe
mean by on-the-fly rendering?
okay, so like 3D graphics, right? 3D rendering, like on the fly
Would that
though.
be like in a professional environment?
So okay, I can't remember. I'd have to check.
Probably Quadro.
I would have to check, but I believe that the weather computers when I worked in TV ran Quadro cards in them.
Probably Quadro. Yep.
Now TrueView Max, that's the software that is widely used by television stations for weather graphics, right? It is a 3D environment software, basically. Everything is in a 3D environment. So that's why I'm saying, are they better equipped to do that on the fly? But isn't that what a lot of games are?
Well, if you look at
I also don't know if TrueView Max pre-renders those graphics ahead of time. That's a possibility.
if you look at the actual stack of silicon, there's not actually that much. So let's look at Turing because it's complete, right? So I'm just looking at Wikipedia. Like, here's the GeForce line for Turing. Okay, RTX 2080, TU104. 2060, 2070, TU106. Oh, well, actually, Turing is not a very complete lineup either. So let's go back one further even, where we have like a full
See,
stack.
this makes no sense to me. Turing. Okay, is that the
20 series.
Okay, that's the 20 series. Okay.
Pascal is the 10 series.
Got it. Okay, so these are like the same thing as like Ice Lake,
Okay,
Coffee
so-
Lake, things like that.
Yes, but like the actual name of the GPU inside is, G whatever, followed by some numbers, right? Like, okay, a GTX 1080, GP 104.
Oh, okay.
Or some,
So
or it's either
similar
that or a cut down version of it.
similar to how you have a Core i3, but you have different
the point
generations.
that I'm trying to make is that the number of these actual pieces of silicon that are designed and manufactured is not very big. There's a lot fewer different types of, like, different actual pieces of silicon that they're making than there is products on a store shelf or on a website. So it's all in the segmentation, right? It's all in the segmentation. Yeah, a high-end, a Quadro card is at the silicon level pretty much a GeForce card. Just
Is it-
that can do a few more things.
So it's
and
kind of
costs
like
a few thousand.
so it's
more
like some of them are
dollars.
binned basically.
Or more like the gaming cards have certain components disabled because you didn't pay enough.
I think I've heard that before though, where it's like it's basically this card, but this is disabled on it.
Yes, exactly. That's the point.
It's just like every Tesla has heated seats, except for you don't get them unless you pay the extra like $5,000.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly how it works, right there. You pretty much nailed it. But it's obviously, I mean,
Oh my gosh,
I
can
assume
you
that you've
imagine?
talked about and you're familiar with like some parts of like CPU manufacturing, for example, right? Like, hey, we want to manufacture an i7 whatever, right? And the top die as designed has, let's say it has
Yeah, but don't they disable
8
some?
cores.
Yeah, where they've like
Just-
disabled
just
some
let me-
cores on it.
Just let me go through my example, right? It has 8 cores. The top die has 8 cores. And okay, so the top die has 8 cores, so when we manufacture this, the ones that come out perfect with all the components working are going to be sold as a, i7 whatever, right? And the ones that come out with like, this or that core defective, okay, we're just going to saw off another core. So now it's a 6-core CPU, and now it's an i5, right?
What, we can't glue more chiplets onto it?
No, because we're not like AMD. Stupid AMD gluing CPUs together. We're better than them. Look where that got us. Anyway, yeah.
Well, that would be the
same
equivalent.
thing happens in the GPU space.
That would be the equivalent
Like,
to binning them, though. They basically are
no,
binning them.
binning would be binning would be Oh, binning? I'm not sure what are the actual manufacturing parameters that affect how a CPU will end up in the binning process, but binning would be more like if you buy a bunch of CPUs, like, let's say you buy a bunch of i7 whatevers, and you overclock all of them to the absolute limits.
Right, and the ones that
The ones
overclock
that overclock better, that are like more stable, would be higher bin, even though they are the same silicon.
Yeah, there are
Exact
some.
same silicon.
Right, there are some.
With the same parts enabled and disabled.
Yeah, hasn't Intel done that with some of their like processors though, where they like.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, and then they add an extra letter to it, and it's like, okay, it's this, but it's a binned one. It's like Core i9, but it's binned.
Actually, yeah, pretty much. There is some binning that takes place too, but when you're looking at like let's look at Pascal GPUs again. So a GTX 1080 would be, this GP 104 chip with, I think if I recall correctly, the 1080 was the full die? I don't remember. But a 1070, which is also based on a GP 104, would actually, in all probability, more than likely be just a 1080 that had some bits and pieces defective, and they're like, just cut them off. Now it has a few less compute units, and we can just sell it as a lower product.
I see.
But I mean, that's, we're familiar with that from the CPU space.
I'm
Quadro and all that is just completely different.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I've never even shopped for a Quadro or a Tesla. God no. So, I mean, I don't know. Like,
where do the Titan cards fit in?
As far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong on some of this, but as far as I'm aware, the Titan cards fit in kind of a weird limbo between GeForce and Quadro. So NVIDIA wants you to think that the 3090 is basically a new Titan, right? But it's not, because a Titan has, some of those like almost borderline professional features like higher precision compute that the 3090 doesn't have. And additionally, well, actually, I haven't checked on that, but I'm pretty sure the 3090 doesn't have that. But additionally, it's even simpler than that, really. The 3090 compared to a 3080 is just flat out not as good as historic Titan cards have been compared to their X80 stablemates. And yet the 3090 costs, well, I don't know, it doesn't cost more than all the Titan cards that have preceded it, but I've seen some charts thrown around, and the price to performance isn't as good. It's just not as good.
Interesting.
So you're getting fleeced. Additionally, I mean, let's not forget to talk about the general price creep of GPUs in general.
So yeah, okay, let me ask you about this real quick. Okay, so somebody who is looking to build a system right now, right?
Is screwed.
Well, okay, is that across the entire board? What if somebody decides to pick up something like a 10 series card, right? It's older.
10 series cards are basically selling for what they went for new.
Holy crap. Okay, see, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Like, if you want to buy a GTX 1070, well, chances are that the random eBay seller is probably selling it for exactly what they paid for it 5 years ago.
Okay, I wondered about that.
Yeah. Or maybe not 5 years ago. Would it be 5 years ago?
See, because here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that people would want to be getting their hands on. Okay, but is there not a surplus of extra cards right now that were, because okay, remember the mining craze.
Not.
Okay, see what happened to all the mining craze cards, right? Because remember, everyone
Well,
bought up all the mining
everybody's buying any kind of card they
that they can get their hands on. I was gonna say, because everyone bought, there was a huge buying craze for the mining craze, right?
Yeah, that was during the Pascal era. Remember?
And then all those cards have been, at some point were just, like, all right, we don't need them anymore. Like, it's all on the market, And then the market was flooded with graphics cards. So that's what I was wondering. But those are all, for the most part, gone.
Yes. I mean, that happened a while ago, I think. And you wouldn't really want a mining card anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Oh yeah, but they want to sell you. They want to sell you a mining card now that's like literally designed for mining, but it's literally the same silicon, just with unnerfed drivers and with no display outputs. But they want. I mean, how much more for it? I don't know. Probably a lot.
Yeah. Well, I will continue to sit on my 1060, because it works for what I need to do. And, yeah, I could do some casual gaming in the meantime, which I don't really game all that much.
Yeah, I'll sit on my 6800 XT. Fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we didn't even talk about AM, or Radeon cards.
Radeon hasn't really been in vogue for a while, but this generation has been a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I forgot you're all Team Red now.
Yeah, I am.
Fully Team Red on your system. So.
Although that's not for lack of trying to get one from either company. I tried just as hard to get a 3080 as I tried to get one of these. I just happened to get one of these first.
So, yeah. Anyway. Well,
I mean, if I really wanted a 3080, I could have just tried to continue getting one, and then if I got one, sell this one, but whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, nah. They're not, and personally, I think NVIDIA is being too stingy with the VRAM this generation. Like, 10 gigs? Get out.
That's it?
Not gonna do
That's
it.
all we're at? 10 gigs?
On the 3080, yeah, you only get 10 gigs. That's like a 4K class card, Like, they want you to play at 4K on a card like that, and 10 gigs, it's not really there, I don't think. Even the rumored 3080 Ti is only said to have 12 gigs.
Yeah, I've got a 1060. I think it's just a 1060. I don't think it's a 1060 Ti in my gaming laptop.
Think that because it's faster. Memory's faster. Oh, but it's faster than that.
Yeah, I have like a 6 gig.
AMD's using.
I have a 6 gig 1060 Ti.
Gigs of this crap.
Yeah, I have a 10 gig 1060 Ti like in my gaming laptop. I think that's what's in
10 gig?
Or excuse me.
No such thing as a
I'm sorry, 6 gig.
Ti.
6 gig. 6 gig.
There is no such thing as a 1060 Ti. It doesn't exist.
Or excuse me, not 1060 Ti. My GTX 1060. In either of my systems, which I believe are both 6 gigs of VRAM. So that's why when you're saying like 10 gigs of VRAM, I'm like, that's it? That's where we're at right now? What?
Well, AMD's at 16 on their high-end cards, and I really think that's where NVIDIA should be. But if you want a lot of VRAM from NVIDIA, you're going to have to get a 3090 for $1,500 at MSRP.
Holy crap, that's like the entire budget of what Redmond was.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is.
Okay, so this opens an interesting question real quick. Is with the shortage of graphics cards, right?
Yeah.
And the expense of the graphics cards, does it make sense to buy a pre-built right now?
A lot of people are. I know 2 people who have just straight up bought pre-builts because they're like, I know I've built PC before, but I don't care. I'm just going to buy a pre-built because I don't want to deal with it. And because the pre-built costs less than it would cost
to buy the graphics card.
So bad. But
when you can buy a pre-built computer for less than a graphics card.
Oh man, it's horrible. But some people are even buying laptops.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that
You
too.
could just buy like it's a viable thing to do right now. It's just bizarre, but yeah, it's completely
Buy a
viable.
gaming laptop.
Like, hey, I'm just gonna buy a gaming laptop and just hook it up to my monitors. Like, here's my new gaming computer. It's a laptop. Yeah, whatever.
What about the thermals on that though?
Probably not gonna be amazing. No.
I wonder
I mean,
about
a
that.
laptop. Well, I mean, you can get a desktop class card in a laptop.
Yeah, if you want to have a desktop.
No, you can get a desktop class card in a laptop.
No, I'm saying it's basically going to be a desktop at that point because it's not gonna...
because of the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have it plugged in to get all the performance out of that card, unfortunately. Yes, you can do it, and I mean, yeah, it's impressive for sure. Like, these are small machines. Even plugged in all the time, it's certainly impressive that they can cram that much in there, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It'd be cool to have a nice
something
like that,
effective cooling.
Remote desktop is just so good that if I ever look for a new laptop, it's just gonna be like integrated graphics only, most likely.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this:
now that I have gigabit internet, like my remote desktop performance is amazing. So good.
You know what you could even do if you have your VPN server set up is you could just RDP in.
You know, actually, I personally prefer Parsec over Microsoft RDP.
I wonder.
Microsoft RDP is pretty good, but the latency is.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. I wonder what the latency's like.
The latency and frame rate is not very good, but it's Parsec's designed for games.
So
even though I use it for everything.
Right. So
but it's designed for games, so it has latency in mind and frame rate in mind. Microsoft RDP doesn't really have frame rate in mind, and maybe only latency a little bit.
And most of what I'm doing when I need to get into a system is not gaming. It's
also Microsoft RDP. I think it certainly does some trickery to look better. Like I think it renders a lot of things locally.
That could be, yeah. So,
it's certainly good for what it's.
I'm not going to do that right now. I was going to pull up an RDP session, but I'd have to connect to the VPN at the church, and I don't want to do that while I'm streaming because that sounds like a bad idea, and other stuff like that. So, and I don't think I have any local systems that I can RDP into. Actually, I take that back. I do. Let's see here. You're right, but I mean RDP has come a really long way. Let's see here.
Well, I mean the Parsec isn't the only one that touts like gaming performance over RDP, but the real reason for its capabilities is because of your hardware encoder.
Yeah. Hang on.
Parsec straight up will not work without a hardware encoder. If you do not have one, you cannot use it.
Hardware encoder. Oh.
Hardware encoder.
Like you have to have a graphics card?
You have to have a graphics card that has a hardware video encoder on it. Not all of them do. Most of them do.
Yep. I think that's similar to like if you're using Proxmox and you want to use a graphics card. I could be wrong on that.
Hardware encoder doesn't have anything to do with Proxmox.
No, GPU pass-through has to be supported. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, NVIDIA doesn't like you doing pass-through on GTX cards, so you have to like basically fool it into thinking you're not a GTX card, which is funny.
Really?
Yes. There's like, I have a nice article bookmarked that basically showed me how to do the whole thing, and it was pretty easy, but a little bit clunky. I mean, it was easy to follow, but it was like just such a clunky process. Like, you mean I have to do all this just because NVIDIA wants to sell me a
I thought they sent down a software update that undid that.
I don't know. you talking about the mining performance?
No, I thought they actually sent an update down that like unlocked that
I have no
that
idea.
block basically.
Well, I have no idea, and I'm not gonna touch it because what I have right now works. Like and it was such a pain to get it working that I don't even care. Like,
Oh, you've got to be freaking kidding me.
do tell.
Well, okay, it's Windows. What do you expect?
Probably an automatic update.
Yep, inevitably, whenever you want to do anything with a Windows system, it's always like, oh, wait, hang on, we got an update for you. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see here. Windows VM. Let's see. 172.31. Oh, that's not the password. Ouch. I forgot what the password is. Oh, nope, actually, I know what the password is. That like thing when like you don't use a system for a while and you're like, oh, what's the password? Oh, of course this isn't gonna work because the system's rebooting. See, it never fails. Whenever I want to do something quick, easy, right? Like, oh, hey, I'll just spin up one of my VMs real quick. No, Windows Updates has to get in there. Oh, anyway.
I mean, if you just disable the Windows updates automatically.
So back to the beginning of the show real quick, where remember I asked you the question, how do you tell somebody that it is time for a new computer?
Don't know.
So I had an individual drop off a computer to me. I'm gonna say it, Zach. It's running Windows Vista. The individual wanted me to basically clean up the computer, right? I attempted to run a defrag, the in-OS defrag software. It is so broken that it will not even load the defrag software.
That's rough.
Yep. And then I took the drive out and put it in an external bay and plugged it into one of my other computers to attempt to run the defrag from there, and it still didn't work. So I'm just gonna back everything up, wipe the system, and probably reinstall the operating system. Actually, I might call this individual first and just be like, hey, here's kind of the state of your computer, and it might be worth just buying a new computer before, going through all the work of it. Anyway, okay. Here you go, Zach. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it looks pretty darn good. This is a RDP session into a Windows VM right here. Which was for running QuickBooks, which I've decided to just run locally on my system because the performance of this is not great. I think most of this comes down to the slow core or clock speed of the processor that I'm actually running in my virtual or my VM server. Let's see here. What is this running actually? Oh, ouch, that was loud. Device manager. Let's see. How well do you know your Xeon processors?
Not that well. But what's your question?
Oh my gosh.
Fail. You can still view it.
Yeah, I know. Let's see, network adapters, processors. Oh, common KVM processor. Okay, well that.
Yeah, you have to change in Proxmox I don't know if it has a performance impact to do this or not, but under processors, you can change it to type host.
Oh,
And then it will show exactly as whatever you're doing.
really? Hang on.
Yes.
Hang on. Let me shut this down real quick here. Shut down. Yes. Where is that? Do you know? Like in my Proxmox dashboard? Oops. Get rid of that real quick here. Didn't mean to show that. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. In my Proxmox dashboard, where exactly is that? Is that under hardware?
Mine looks like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
Hardware, processors, type, host.
Hardware processors.
Type, you probably have KVM64, right?
Oh, yep. Okay.
Change it to host. You can actually change it to anything here, and it will attempt to like emulate one of these types of CPUs. I don't know why you would do that. I'm sure there's some reason you would do that. If you just do host, it'll show up as whatever it is.
Interesting. Let's see. Oh. I know why this isn't working. I'm sitting here trying to save it and I'm getting an error, and that's probably because that VM is still on. that might be causing a problem. Let's see. Console. I told this to shut down. Let's see here. Shut this guy down real quick here. Yeah, I know you've got that crazy system with all those cores in it. 2.4 gigahertz. See, okay. What is the performance like of your VM?
Perfectly good.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
And well, okay, I guess what are you allocating for resources to it? That is the question. Obviously a ton of processing cores.
Well, again, because these CPUs obviously have hyperthreading, there are 48 vCPUs to allocate.
Okay. How much memory,
Even though there are actually only 24 cores.
Got it.
I think like 40 gigs on that one.
Holy mackerel. Okay, yeah, no wonder. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I have another one with like 8 gigs, and it's fine, and I have another one with 4, and it's fine, so...
How much memory do you have to allocate out, though, in your...
64 gigs.
Okay, so I only have 32, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, memory of this type is literally only like $1 a gigabyte. It's not much.
Let's see. So, processor.
And CPUs aren't much more. Like, I mean...
Well, okay, so that is going to be one thing that I may look at is there...
Like maybe... Well, less than $10 per core, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's another thing that I may look at is improving... Although I don't use up many of my core count. I could use more memory. I can only go up to 64 gigs.
I have 2 E5 2640s. Do you want them?
Oh, yeah, that's also right. You have two CPUs on your board. I only have one. I would I'll have to check and see if my board will support.
Is that even better?
What?
Is a 2640 even better than what you have?
I don't know what I have in there. Hang on.
What? We're gonna find out when you just turn on host.
I know.
Also, Proxmox will tell you.
I know, that's what I'm looking at. Hang on. Summary. CPU. Actually, will it? Data centers. Summary. Nope, hang on. Let me see here. Hang on. Will it? Oh yeah. It's a 2648L.
Oh, okay.
At 1.8 gigahertz, which is pretty slow. Yeah, it's an E5.
Oh, that's an 8 core.
Yeah, yep.
So the 2640s they're faster clocked 6 cores.
The question is, will they work with my motherboard?
Probably. Socket, same generation. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
See, okay,
Save
yes,
for a GP.
I would be perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, but I would honestly question whether that's even an upgrade for you. Like, to
faster
have a-
faster clock speed.
Yeah, but less cores.
Oh,
It only
yeah.
has 6 cores. You
Oh,
have 8.
okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. I think there's another processor that I can pick up for about the same price as what I paid for this one, like maybe $20 or something like that.
You could get like let's see.
That's still 8 cores, but it's
2680?
yeah, I think still 8 cores, but it's gonna be faster.
Yeah, you could get a 2680 which will turbo to 3.5 and has 8 cores.
Yeah, I need to do a little research and see what I can get.
Or a 70 maybe? Yeah, 2670 even will be significantly better on clock speed.
Yeah, I need to do a little bit of research to see what I can do. Let's see here. So remote desktop protocol. We're gonna.
Oh gosh, even the 2660 is an 8 core.
Let's see here. Yeah, so I don't use my Windows VM very much on here because it doesn't perform the greatest. But yeah, I wonder if that's due to the slow clock speed of my main processor in my system.
How much RAM does it have?
It's got 4 gigs.
That's it?
Yeah, I could probably give it some more.
How many drives are in your
My array?
machine? Yeah.
2,
array.
but I'm only using 1, so I don't actually have an array built.
So you probably don't even have very good performance on the storage side of things either.
No, probably not.
I mean, I'm sure mine's not impeccable, but I have like a 4-drive RAID 5.
Oh yeah. So
And I just got a 300 gig disk to add to it. Not a ton, but enough for another VM or 2.
yeah. So I could move this to its whole a whole separate
Honestly, just get some like 300 or 146 gig disks and just add them to your array. That would probably help.
The problem
and
is
add a little bit of memory and
the problem is I don't have space in my case.
Oh, is it like a tower? Oh, it's not a rack, is it?
It is a half length
Oh, a half. Oh, it's a 1U rack, isn't it?
yeah, it's oh no, it's
How many?
it's a 2U, but it's a half length.
Oh, how many drive bays are there?
4.
You only got 2 of them filled, so
I've
put a
got
couple more
3.
in.
I've got 3 filled because I've got
And
it.
you're only using 1, so use them.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't know.
You probably should do that.
Most of what honestly, what I would probably end up doing if I really wanted
Or
to
don't.
run,
If it works for you, don't.
if I wanted to run Windows VMs, which could be a thing, right? Because most of what I'm using this system for, oh my gosh, I need to shut this down. Most of what I'm using this system for right here is to run, what is it? Linux systems. So that's mostly what I'm running in Proxmox is all Linux-based systems, right? Which is fine. That's mostly what I want to run in VMs is all Linux-based stuff. So if I was going to look at, this was designed to be more of a kind of home lab, starter home lab system, right? If I really wanted to take it to the next step, then yes, I probably would buy some kind of like cheap server like you've got or something like that, right? And go from there and build up. But for right now, for what I want to do, in terms of mostly running Linux-based VMs, this works great.
I'm sure it does.
So, I'm completely happy with that right now. So the goal was always to build more systems down the line, more virtualization servers, to handle other tasks and things like that. This was just to kind of get my feet wet.
Yeah, Yeah, just if you want to rack, make sure you're on point with your fan management, because they can get loud.
Oh yeah, yep.
I spent hours figuring out my fan management and was very angry by the end of it.
So, anyway, I just realized that we should maybe let's end the show, and yeah, let's do that real quick. So, anyway, thanks for joining us. This is gonna be our new slot, is 6 o'clock on Thursdays, and yeah, hopefully you join us next week. So, thanks for being a part of it. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Subscribe down below if you haven't done that already, so you don't miss our new videos. And yeah, we'll see you next